Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. I'm back at Starbase. It's good to be home. So I hope everybody's doing well. This will be an interesting one today. As usual, we pull the top questions from the community. We'll talk about the fastest horse, as well as AI or stocks or crypto. Do a few little mini face-offs like Musk versus Saylor, Bitcoin versus Sol. We'll look at some solar companies as well. Bitcoin versus real estate. UBI versus robots, future 10Xers, and so much more. So let's go and jump into it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the mods in chat, Sean Donnelly, T&D Tesla, K8, and everybody else. And of course, I'm just a guy on the internet. This is just a guy on the internet talking to himself. And all you lovely people out there. Thank you, Beatcorn Bull and Viciously. And all the questions come from Patreon. Shout out to everybody in Patreon as well. What a beautiful, brilliant community that help make us work 24/7. Which is, to some people, a bad thing. But hey, I enjoy it. Let's get into the first question from JW1. Hi, James. In your crypto and stock position sizing video from a few years ago, it seems your not financial advice rule was a rule of thirds applying to one's portfolio consisting 1/3 real estate, 1/3 high beta stocks, crypto, and 1/3 melting ice cubes pension. The stock crypto third was made up of 2/3 ETFs, mutual funds, in this example showing only an 11% allocation. I understand markets and macro conditions change and risk tolerance typically decreases with age and wealth, but would you suggest this as a typical portfolio structure? So JW1, I don't know where you got this. If you know me, I will never touch an ETF. Never have, never will. I think they're shit. We'll talk more about those later. But my thirds were always this. Basically stocks. Back then, it was disruption, and since 2022, it's been AI. So equities around that, and also equities around proxies of crypto. Second leg of the stool is crypto. Third leg is real estate. But I always say tap dancing, shoes, and everything else. And real estate, everybody needs a castle. I've always said that. And you can buy real estate with 10% down, which means 20x leverage, which is good. You can also write it off, which is good. I always called tax deductibility of mortgage interest in the United States as middle-class welfare. And that's all advantages, right off your property tax, etc. But things have changed. And I always try and play where the puck is going to be. And there's some concerning things now about real estate. One of them is this. I do believe Bitcoin will smoke real estate going forward. This is from, shout out to Michael Saylor. I cribbed his chart, but basically a $10 million home will cost $10 million to maintain in 17 years. But I am more concerned about what's happening in the world from a macro sense with governments. Half of people in the United States are dependent on the government. That is only going to increase, okay? That's a problem. Second of all, fewer people will have money, and the government will need more money because of their crazy money spending, debt going to the moon. And I didn't mean to start with such a depressing question, but here we are. These are your questions, and I'm just here to answer them honestly. The governments will have to go after what they used to do hundreds of years ago. If anybody remembers the feudal systems in the past, like I was around 300 years ago. Anyway, the point is, when the governments have no other sources of income, like California, for example, companies, billionaires, decamillionaires, centimillionaires, they're all fleeing California, and they're going to places like Texas and Florida and Nevada. And the question is why? Because the government's going to come after them. And I do believe as well, the government will instead, when they have no income makers in the state, they'll be forced to go after their assets, which will be things like real estate. So property taxes will continue to go up. Your cost for water, utilities, we'll talk about those later too. You name it, school allowances, hospitals, etc. It'll all just keep on going up. So it's going to be really hard to make money in real estate going forward. Therefore, I have stopped buying real estate, and I'm actually looking to offload it if I can. The problem is the market I'm in is kind of depressed. But anyway, that's just the unvarnished truth that you'd always get here. So the third is now like, yeah, you'll still have some, but it won't be a third anymore. And I was big into, rental properties and stuff like that for rental income, but that's just been destroyed with what do they call rent control and other things. So it's not what it used to be. And that's just a fact of reality. If you were looking to invest and you expect real estate to perform like Bitcoin, it's not going to. Bitcoin will smoke real estate. And there's other assets that will smoke Bitcoin. We'll get to those in a second too. So that was the depressing opening, everybody. And I could be completely wrong, but I'm probably not. I'm very good at one skill I do have is be able to predict things 5 to 10 years out. That is one of the abilities that I can pretty much see. I look at all the pieces, build a tapestry in my little head, and forecast what's going to happen next. You should all get that skill. It's very important, especially for investing. Next question is from Good Idea. Hi, James. Thanks for all you do. I appreciate all your hard work. Who do you think will be the richest person in 2030, Elon Musk or Michael Saylor? Wow, what a great question. And this week, there was a lot of talk about MicroStrategy becoming a $1 trillion company, and even Michael Saylor becoming a $1 trillion man, and Michael Saylor becoming the richest man in the world. But let's go back to numbers and basics. And here's a quick and dirty little spreadsheet I popped together. This is Elon Musk versus Michael Saylor. Excuse the simple formatting. Might be a bit hard to read, but Michael Saylor, I did this 3 ways. Michael Saylor has a personal bag of 17,732 Bitcoin. He also owns 9.98% of MicroStrategy shares, which equates to about 22,605 Bitcoin. So technically, he has 40,337 Bitcoin, which is worth $2.5 billion. MicroStrategy market cap now is $4.3 billion. Shout out to the brand new MicroStrategy millionaire that messaged me this morning. We have another one. We have well over 1,000 MicroStrategy millionaires. And in fact, I met one as well at the Tesla event in LA as well. So it's been a phenomenal ride. So everybody temper things, though, with a little bit of, reality. Things don't go to the moon forever unless they are truly disruptive. So everybody, when you make absolutely life-changing wealth, take some off the table. Reallocate just for safety. And not financial advice, but basically what we should do because it has been outrageously unbelievable. Anyhow, if you add this up, the 9.98% of MicroStrategy market cap is $4.3 billion. Add in his personal bag, it's $1.1 billion. That's $5.4 billion. Now, Elon Musk's net worth, and it doesn't even appraise things fully, like the Boring Company, Neuralink, Starlink, XAI, etc. But at this current point in time, just taking SpaceX and Tesla, he is worth $246 billion, and that is 46 times richer than Michael Saylor. So the simple answer to your question is, who will be richer in 2030? Well, in order for Michael Saylor to smoke Elon Musk, 2 things need to happen. All right? One is Tesla needs to stay flat. SpaceX needs to stay flat. XAI needs to stay flat. X needs to stay flat. Neuralink needs to stay flat. Boring Company needs to stay flat. On and on. Okay? After seeing what happened this morning, where 4 little chopsticks caught a rocket landing on its butt that weighed a massive amount. Okay, this is a 400-foot high rocket ship with 10 tons of propellant fuel that goes in the air and then catches it back and sticks. It's unbelievable. So never fade Elon. But for Michael Saylor to become richer than Elon Musk, Bitcoin needs to 46x and Elon needs to stay flat. Okay? That's not going to happen. That's just reality. Here's a quick reminder of what Elon did in 60 hours. And I was with him 60 hours ago. And, at the event in Los Angeles, pretty unbelievable. The Robovan, the Cybercab, the bots, and I know all the haters. Hey, Linda, the haters are having hardcore EDS, Elon derangement syndrome. They're just losing their minds. This is a really, really bad look. But can you imagine how they're feeling this morning? When this puppy landed within chopsticks, when you first look at this video, you think it's fake, but it's not. It's real. I know people on the ground at Starbase who watched it live. Unbelievable. And shout out to everybody I met as well this week. What an amazing week. And I'm completely exhausted, still completely dehydrated, but it was well worth it. Thank you all. So basically, hold my beer, don't fade Elon. It's that simple. That's why I buy every dip I possibly can. That's my long-term hold. And there's more coming on this later as well. Next question. First time Manafaya has posted. Welcome to the family. Is this a good time to swap my SOL for Bitcoin, or should I wait for the AltSeason and then do it? So this is interesting. First of all, let's look at the relative performance between Solana and Bitcoin. This is the SOL Bitcoin chart. And you can see Solana has smoked Bitcoin by 300%. We are actually currently at level 5 on the ATR. That means we're heading back to layer 6, which I believe right now Solana has sold off more than it should have compared to Bitcoin. The chart is telling me it goes up from here, and this chart is right a lot of the time. We're talking 80+% of the time. So it's pretty incredible. Trend is up, heading to layer 6. So hold on tight. Now, you mentioned something very important as well. AltSeason has not even arrived. We're down at 33. Okay? So again, this is not the time to ditch Solana for Bitcoin. Could it be the time to ditch Bitcoin for Solana? We'll see. Let's look at some numbers. Again, all I do is data and numbers, and they've rewarded me very well during my life. And that's why now I can share them all with you. First of all, this is the Bitcoin versus SOL Face Off. I want to take a second to break some of this down. And in full disclosure, literally you can't make this up. This morning, my Bitcoin bag and my Solana bag are identical sizes. And they're both a fraction of what my MicroStrategy bag is. And that's just by virtue of what MicroStrategy did. It is absolutely face melting. And I've got a couple of thoughts regarding what I should do next, but that's a surprise for later. But this is more interesting, and I will share my thoughts with Patreon later. The transactions per second for Bitcoin is 7. For Solana, 710,000, heading to 1 million with FireDancer. And Solana's TPS is obviously vastly higher. Again, greater potential for handling transactions. 736,000 transactions on Bitcoin. 41.5 million, round that up to 42 million transactions on Solana. Solana processes significantly more transactions daily. Daily active users, 345,000 on Bitcoin, 5.5 million on Solana. Okay, these are all huge multiple deltas, massive. Daily transactions out of daily active users, again, they use Solana a lot more. Average fee, $4 for Bitcoin. 0.0002 for Solana. There's not even enough zeros there. So Solana offers nearly zero transaction fees compared to Bitcoin. And the daily fees, 2.8 million versus 1.3 million. Solana makes up half of the fees that Bitcoin makes right now. So despite lower fees, Solana's daily total fees, yeah, they're less than Bitcoin, but they're nearly half already. And they will exceed it soon. So as a TradFi guy who looks at data to value companies, imagine for a second these are two companies. Now, I understand as well that one is a store of value, etc. But just imagine for a second they were two companies. Which one would you buy? It's pretty clear. Also, imagine this. If Metcalfe's law is a thing, it would suggest that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of its users. And given Solana's higher daily active user and transaction volume, it could be argued that its network is potentially drastically overvalued by thousands of percent compared to Bitcoin. If Metcalfe's law holds true, which it does, and I've used it for years to appraise different companies like Meta, etc., the law implies as the number of users increase, the network's value grows exponentially. That's the most important part. We invest in disruption. We love exponentiality. We love S-curves. They're our thing. So, if you look at this here, the point out I'm trying to say in a long-winded way, the fully diluted market cap of Bitcoin per daily active user is nearly $4 million. For Solana, it's $15,000. That's a big difference, okay? Imagine Meta is valued at $4 million per user. That'd be more than the value of all the assets on the planet. Okay, just as a all I'm doing is sharing data. And again, as I mentioned before, All the Bitcoin maxis, don't get upset. I own equal amount of Bitcoin and Solana. The only difference is I started stacking Bitcoin 5 years earlier than Solana. And now the bags are the same size, which is very bizarre. Another little point here as well. What if Solana was priced at the market cap of Bitcoin? Solana would be priced at $3,062 or 21x from here. So that's the first 10x of the day. Plus, if it happens, remember, Bitcoin's going to go a lot higher. Bitcoin is hard and scarce. That is my thing, okay? And everybody's rushing to buy gold now because they don't know what Bitcoin is. Imagine when all the plebeians learn what Bitcoin is, they're going to stop buying gold and they're going to FOMO into Bitcoin. By then it'll be way too late. It'll be way too high. But that's why it's the hardness that gets me excited. Okay? And remember, gold market cap is nearly $20 trillion. Bitcoin's 1.2. 20x. Another 20x, coincidentally, by the way, of where we're going to go. So imagine if Bitcoin does a 20x. Do the math. Bitcoin does a 20x, and Solana needs to do a 20x to match Bitcoin. What's 20 times 20? Drop a comment below for the kids watching in the show, and I will read every comment. What is 20 times 20, and what would the price of Solana be if Bitcoin market cap matches gold? And this happens. It is, again, face melting, but that's why we do exponentiality here, because that's how you make life-changing money. And that's what the channel is all about. So thank you all for coming. Next, Trent C77. MSTX. If looking to Lilo or DCS some into MSTX, since it doesn't have a 2-year track record, would it be better to use the indicators against Bitcoin or MicroStrategy? I'm assuming MicroStrategy, but since MicroStrategy itself is acting as beta against Bitcoin, figured worth asking. So I know what people are trying to do here. So first of all, ATR is your go-to for everything, and you only need about a little over a year of data for Lilo to work properly. It needs to analyze a lot of data to understand where the puck is going to go. So 2 years is not required, but it is only been around since August. Let's look at the chart first. This is the pair chart. You can learn an awful lot from a pair chart. Excuse me. Slightly snarfy from all the conference stuff. But this is MSTX over MSTR since August 2024. MicroStrategy is up 40% in the same time frame. MSTX is up 58%. So what you pull out here, if it truly was, oh, by the way, MSTX is a leveraged ETF on MicroStrategy, a 1.75x. So you'd think MSTX would be up 1.75x what MicroStrategy is. That would be 70%. But it's not. It's only up 58%. And that's because you get eaten alive with fees. Do not hold these leverage ETFs long term. Never more than 30 days. You can jump on for a speculation like I jump on for a speculation with a perp. Leverage like 5x or 3.3x or whatever. Same thing here. You do not hold for more than 30 days. Unless your pump is a little bit late. Okay, so first of all, net takeaway, watch the pair. Do not DCAS into leverage ETFs. You'll be eaten alive by fees. And by the way, when things turn down, you will get crucified. Okay, that's the real danger too. Not just the fees, etc., but the downturn will absolutely crush you. Remember, do not hold these things for more than 30 days. I've said it for a long time. And again, it's okay for a quick trade, but not longer, and pure form always. Remember, MicroStrategy is up 1,600%, okay, since they started the strategy. Bitcoin's up 400%. You get plenty rich just getting into MicroStrategies. No need to get fancy and get leveraged, okay? So remember, greed kills, and fees will eat you alive. And the downturn will crucify you. That's something that just popped into my head. I should turn that into one of my little, what do I call them? My colloquialisms. Anyway, thank you for the question. Next question is from Hobbit44. Must be a Lord of the Rings person. And no, I haven't seen the show. Anyway, ENPH seems to be threatening a deeper buying opportunity. Range bound 100 to 130, 200-day moving average, risk off sentiment of overall markets, descending wedge. What do you think of ENPH now, and do you see it as a compelling buy today? Thank you so much, by the way, Hobbit44 for the question, and Doc Intern for being here. Appreciate you, buddy. So let's break this down. I'm going to analyze it like I would any stock, step-by-step process. First of all, macro. California, Pacific Gas and Electric. I saw a gas bill and electric bill for one building. It was $1,600 last month. A couple of years ago, it was $300. I've managed a building for 25 years. I know the bills. Okay? It is insane. Absolutely freaking insane the way these companies are gouging residents. It is despicable. All because they burnt down the state of California and now they need to screw the customers to pay back what they're liable for. The people that run this company need to be thrown out and replaced with proper people. Anyhow, and I don't care, by the way, I don't care about spending $600 on a utility bill. I care about the little old ladies that can't afford these bills, or the little old retired pensioners that can't afford them. That is the problem. How do they stay warm in winter or air conditioning in summer? It's a real, real issue. So let's walk through some of this stuff. January, they increased the bills by $35 a month. March, another $5 a month. September, another $6 increase. And October, another $6 increase. I mean, it is just, this sounds like small potatoes, but this is up 400%. This has basically done the Bitcoin performance over the last couple of years. And it's wrong. So if anybody here lives in California, and sometimes people say, oh, my bill's fine. Nothing wrong with my PG bill. Not everybody's on PG&E, and not everybody's in San Francisco. But anyway, I just want to share that. And it's probably happening in Arizona and other places. And the other crazy thing about the macro of this is the demand for electricity is about to go to the moon because of AI and crypto mining and all that other good stuff too. So, and I don't want to say global warming, people will lose their mind, but things are getting hotter for sure. I know it's nearly November and it's hot. Okay. It was like 90 degrees down in LA, where it used to be 76 this time of year. Anyhow, moving on. We have a free solar reactor in the sky, and therefore solar will grow. In fact, the demand over the past couple of quarters has witnessed a solid 10%, I think. No, 29% year-over-year increase in solar capacity. And they installed an impressive 9.4 gigawatts of direct current of new solar capacity in the second quarter of 2024. I need to pull up, these are all just rough ideas, but again, solar is growing. And we have international expansion with ENPH. They're expanding in Europe, in markets like Brazil, etc. And most important, lower interest rates will fuel a lot of solar expansion. You got the double whammy. People look at solar like building a house extension. Yeah, solar panels and a storage wall will cost you $15,000 to $20,000, but it'll pay back itself over 7 to 8 years. Maybe less if these fascists continue to jack prices every couple of weeks. Okay? That's just reality. Because they burnt down the state because they're incompetent. Off my soapbox now. It's important to have people that lead companies who are competent. And countries as well. So that is going to be a huge tailwind for ENPH. They also have a leading position in microinverters. And there's increased battery adoption. Tesla Powerwalls, I covered it in yesterday's video. They're selling like hotcakes. And why? Because people want to plug them into their solar panels on the roof so they don't pay these egregious electricity bills. So everybody, and I know people think, oh, I live in Scandinavia, whatever, solar doesn't work. Oh, it does. Yeah. There's people in the west coast of Ireland and up in Denmark. They all have solar panels. And yes, it does work. So anyway, let's get back to the numbers. Revenue and earnings are turning up for ENPH. Yes, they had a brutal time in Q1 2024, but now they turn profitable again in Q2. Q3 earnings are in a week or so, and I expect this trend to continue both from a revenue and earnings potential. Let's look at the charts. First of all, this is ATR. For ENPH to get back to all-time high, it has to go up nearly 3x. That's 250% gainers to get back there, 350% increase. So we'll see if that happens. Right now, you're right. We're in this chop consolidation between layer 1 and layer 2. Clear as day to see. It's a beautiful range rider, but it will break out. Let's look at an IADSS analysis of ENPH. This is my go-to series of tools that I rarely talk about, but I will today, of how I analyze a stock. It's always on the 4-year, which is my 4-hour, which is my gold standard. This is the Confluence model. Right now, it's about to flash a green. It hasn't had a sell in a while. It hasn't had a green buy since June of this year. It just is about to fire one again, which means there is a 100% chance that we go up from here. And I know that sounds very cocky, but this thing works, okay? 100% chance we go up from here over the next couple of weeks. Okay, remember, it's a 4-hour chart, so it's looking at 4-hour ticks. There's only 1 or 2 of them in every trading day, so bear that in mind. Next, IADSS analysts of ENPH using the trend model. Trend model is about to turn up, i.e. blue. When it goes blue, you buy, okay? Second thing. Third thing, mean reversion. Again, 2 big buy triggers in a row. Boom, boom, boom. It is drastically oversold at this level. And again, there's an 88.57% that it goes up from here too. You add all those combined, I forgot to mention the percentage here. This is 95% chance it goes up from here based on the trend model. And you add up all those probabilities together, it's pretty much a sure thing it'll go up from here. So yes, it's time to buy. How much it'll go up remains to be seen. Could it go back to 120 to 140? Absolutely. Another rate cut will definitely be an afterburner for this, and we'll hopefully get 75 basis points before the end of the year. Hope that helps. Thank you so much. Next question. Hey, James. Thank you for all your help and support. I don't want to sound greedy, but I recently became a father to a 3-month-old daughter. Congratulations, Udar boy. Very much congratulations. The future is looking scary for many reasons, AI and all. I want to increase my portfolio by 5 or 10 times in the next 10 years so that I can move my family back to our home country. And I've been in Australia for the last 17 years. But I want to move back to my home country to live with my parents. Udar, give me your name. I'd say that's probably India. So it's a beautiful place as well. And by the way, a much lower cost of living than Australia. Anyhow, we'll get back to that in a future conversation as well. But my current investments include a mid-sized bag of Bitcoin, SOL, Tesla, MicroStrategy, and Tata Motors. Well done on Tata Motors. India is the fastest growing economy on the planet. Stock market isn't quite as mature as the capital markets in the West, like the US, but it's getting there. And I do believe the next 10 years we'll have crazy growth out of India. Anyhow, could you please provide a roadmap for the next 5 to 10 years? Hopefully by then I will have 2 more kids. I have very limited knowledge about stocks, but I have zero fear in trying new things. Thanks again, and God bless you and your team. Sorry for the long message. Today I subscribed to PTOS. So, what are you doing right? First of all, you're in all the right assets. Second of all, you're trying new things. You're not afraid. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to buy something, but it takes even more courage to sell things. So things like PTS will give you the muscle memory to be able to trade long and short at the same time against inversely correlated assets. And the people that have mastered this are making a fortune right now. So well done on that. And so you're on the winning assets. Congratulations. Pair trade between them and spikes. That's a great way to make money. PTOS, you're on that as well. And remember, if you are in something good, let the winners ride. Okay. MicroStrategy was at 160, popped to 200, went to 250. I know a bunch of people that sold at 250. It's nearly at 250 again. The difference is it did a 10-for-1 stock split. Okay? So people left a 10x on the table because they sold too early. Let your winners ride, ladies and gentlemen. Don't take profits too early, but remember to take profits as well. It's that fine balance is so difficult to nail. Let's get into a couple of things. You got a 10-year timeline, which is beautiful. You got lots of runway. You're in the winning assets. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about some of the 10x's on the horizon. Lots of 10x's right here. Bitcoin Fidelity's projection, $1 billion per Bitcoin by 2038 to 2040. Remember, $1 billion will not be worth $1 billion in 2040. It'll probably be worth 250 million, something like that. Anyway, that's Fidelity. And Fidelity are not dummies, but that is pretty incredible. I'd share that. But A lot of other analysts have $1 million Bitcoin by 2030 or even a little bit earlier, like 2028. So anyway, think about that. Also, Tesla. StockScan projects Tesla stock could exceed 3,600 by 2035. They're pretty conservative. Cathie Wood, 2,600 by 2029. Create a combo of these, or we could look at something like this, which is completely nuts. But again, another asset I'll show you just to remind everybody is completely nuts. This one, what happens if Bitcoin goes up and matches gold's market cap? This will do the question earlier. You can read the comments below if you need the answer for that. It is bonkers when you think about it. But again, we saw MicroStrategy do a 10x in a very short window of time, like a year and a half. So everything is possible, and we're on those horses when the time is right. Let's go to Cern Basher. Shout out to friend of the channel. Him and I worked on this model. Painstaking detail. All right, bots are coming. Okay. Again, back to the We Robot event. They are going into production with Optimus in 2026. Cybercabs, robotaxis, Model 3s and Ys will be floating around next year in California and Texas. And maybe Cybercab will be in production in 2026, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little bit later. Either way, it's all coming. The amount of value that these things create, traditional finance models cannot calculate. That's why I built my own, to allow for disruption and exponentiality. Cern Basher and I went through this model. Forget 2033 and 2034, but by 2032, technically, if the bots do what we conservatively think they could do, we could be looking at easily a $15,000 stock. Again, it's nuts, but we've done the math. It's crazy. And now this stuff has all become real. I got to have another meeting with Cern and we go through this one more time and refine it for all that we learned this week. So again, the future is going to be absolutely wild. Very few people. We're talking about 0.01% of people can forecast what's going to happen, and it's going to be bonkers. So enjoy the ride. You have lots of 10x opportunities, and good luck with kid number 2 and kid number 3. And I hope your parents are doing well. Thank you, Udar. Next question is Barry Budden. This is, again, tied into what people are thinking about. Robots and retirement. The 2 R's. Actually, that'd be a great name for a video. R squared, robots and retirement. What can we do? How can we leverage robots to retire earlier? Great idea. That just came to me right now. My creative brain is not dead yet. I live in the UK, and currently, private pension retirement age is 55 and due to change to 57 in 2028. With robots set to take over the workplace, I'm hoping this will have a reversal effect on legal retirement age to unlock my private pension earlier. Due to more people being out of work and having less money, businesses need consumers, so the economy would surely need us to unlock that money sooner rather than later. Otherwise, who are the robots making product for if people are not working, and potentially on a universal income, UBI, through robot taxi? I am 38 and I've moved all of my company pension to a SIPP, split between Tesla and MicroStrategy. I don't want to be a millionaire sweeping the floor at work. Thanks again, mate. P.S. Feel like it's cliche saying this, but thank you for the effort you make in educating us in these videos. None of us will truly know how much time you invest. It's a lot. But you talk about Tesla being the best risk-reward investment. However, my Patreon membership has outperformed anything currently on the market. So you rock. Awesome. Thank you, Barry. You're hitting on a bunch of things that are very, very real. There's something flawed in your estimations here, and you think the government will unlock your pension early. You're wrong right there, all right? So if this is from a nurse in Europe, fresh today, okay? They just got a wake-up call. They were just told their retirement age had moved from 65 to 69, and this lady is 50, and she now has another 20 years, and she knows she will not stick it out that long, nor be able to work that long. Her job is very physical. She has to carry patients. She's small, petite. She has to carry patients that are 400 pounds, and she can't do it, and she's looking into selling a kidney. Now, it all sounds like a bit of a joke, but we have an issue. We have a whole bunch of issues happening at the same time. There's longer life expectancy. People are living longer, which means they need to spend more time in retirement, and these are draining the retirement systems. So people at 38 paying into retirement now, they probably may never see a penny, to be honest. Also, rising pension costs, inflation, population's age, fewer workers paying into the system. That'll be accelerated in the future with robots. There's also shrinking workforce with lower birth rates, less young people to support the old people, economic pressures. Pension funds all over the world are destroyed. They are not fungible. They don't have enough money to pay out their commitments. Rising healthcare costs. I could go on and on and on and on about this. I've been looking at this for decades. And that's one of the reasons why I never paid into a pension fund or anything. Because I thought, first of all, I want my money now because I can make more money with it. Second of all, I don't know if I'm going to be alive at 65. And I was, both my parents died pretty much at that age. So that's kind of where I came from. And I don't trust government because they misspend money. All right. So this is why, the other reason why we make videos here every day. So I don't want to throw a bucket of cold water over you. But again, there's no way in hell governments will reduce the retirement age because they have robots. And again, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. Okay, so that was a lot. Ugh, sorry for sharing all that. So let's talk about my thoughts on robots, which I think about 24/7, by the way. These are not random thoughts, but this is me trying to think out loud. Okay, robots will change the way we work, no doubt about that. 2 years now, 3 years from now, the world will be very different. And their effect on when people retire is very complicated. Some people believe it could boost productivity enough to lower retirement ages. I say BS to that, as I just explained. The pension funds of governments are already don't have enough in the kitty to pay out. Also, in the UK, the government is moving in the opposite direction. Just like they did at that other country in Europe, they are increasing pension age. And you've seen it. It's in Spain, it's in Italy, it's everywhere. It's in Asia. And some people also have suggested extra productivity from automation will allow for earlier retirement. However, less people will be working. There's less young people to pay into the system. People are living longer, spending more. Healthcare costs are going through the roof. And therefore, no. And your point about needing consumers in an automated world is important. But the solution may not be early retirement. And there's going to be a lot more that I've been talking about for a long time is universal basic income. They will be used to address job losses caused by automation. And congratulations on your investment in Tesla and MicroStrategy through a SIP. It's ambitious, but it works. But remember to take profit. There's one other thing, which is probably the most important thing I left to last, although it wasn't in this order. People talk about abundance, robots, infinite GDP, and money flowing everywhere, and beautiful fruit you can just pick off a tree, and parking lots turning into parks. And yeah, no. The people that control the cybercabs, the robotaxis, the bots will be the rich and the corporate enterprises. And they do not share. They do not give back. That's not how they're wired. Governments do not give back. It's not how they're wired because they spend money with gay abandon like there's no tomorrow. And yeah, that's the reality. So prepare now, as I've been urging people. The future is both exciting but also terrifying. Be ready. The government's not going to look after you. Hope that helps. Next question. I'm going to spend a lot of time in the soapbox today. Anyhow, this is from Trading Eggs. I love that handle. Is that a cute little penguin up there too? Question about the effects of rate cuts. The general opinion is that rate cuts will have a positive effect on risk assets. But history shows markets go down initially after the start of rate cuts. In the attached chart, the red line is the SXP and the blue line is Fed funds. I think you mean SPX. S&P 500. Will it get worse before it gets better? Well, we have some interesting things, and I've been warning people. They expect rates or the market to come crashing down because rates are cut, because that means we're in a disaster zone. So back to government. It all relates. You cannot talk about macro without talking about governments and spending and debt and risk assets. Everything is completely interrelated. Let's jump into this. My view, and it has not changed. First of all, we have a so-called soft landing. And before I get into the soft landing, a huge amount of GDP, 25% of GDP growth is there because of insane government spending. You rip that out. We're in a recession like this, like you've never seen before. It's a disaster. But the government spending is keeping us afloat. Okay? That's the first thing. Second thing, the job market data looks amazing. But the truth is people have 2 or 3 jobs and that's all counted. So the job numbers are BS. The GDP numbers are BS. But it makes the world think like we have a soft landing. And the truth is, this is the interesting twist. Because the US Federal Reserve cuts in the so-called soft landing scenario, it has been a powerful driver for market growth. So, for example, when rates are cut and there is a soft landing scenario, i.e. when the Fed cuts rates during a soft landing, which many people are calling it now, it signals confidence in the economy's stability, often leading to increased investor optimism and higher stock prices. Now, if you've watched this channel, I told you, we've been in a recession for a long time. Many states are in a recession in the United States. Many industries are in absolute global depressions. Real estate, commercial real estate, automotive, you name it, like absolutely getting murdered. ICE vehicle makers are getting their throats cut right now. The depression in automotive is insane. There's one company surviving. Anyhow, you can figure out who that is. This is the twist, all right? So, when you have all of this happen, technically, lower interest rates stimulate more borrowing and spending, which will boost economic activity. And now the market sees this happening. So no, we've had the recession, or we're in the recession. The only thing happening next is the so-called soft landing because of government statistics and the fact that, equities will boom. Mid-market companies will boom. Equity markets have shown very strong performance as well during historic Fed rate cutting cycles. In the absence of a recession, again, I'll argue we are in a recession. We were in a recession. There are industries in a recession. But since the 80s, the S&P 500 has delivered an average return of 14.2% over the 12 months following the initial rate cut. And we have sustained economic expansion, rate cuts, soft landing, money printing, It's like 1994 all over again. And this could be a period of continued expansion and growth. So there we are. It's like unicorns and rainbows in the back of the screen here. But don't freak out. Don't listen to the people that don't understand how things actually work. Because for some reason, people love spreading fear and terror and open mouth emojis on thumbnails and flames. Although I do Friday Fire, which has flames. But that's because it's called Friday Fire, which actually happened on a Saturday yesterday. Anyhow, remember that. So we're all good. Don't be worried. Next question is from Laser Q. It's been a while since we've seen Laser Q. Last post was 6 months ago. But this is a cool question. Following Jupiter's announcement at Breakpoint that they will be slashing their fees for perp trading, did you pick up on the timeline for this? Sorry if I missed it. And thanks for educating us and helping us escape the matrix. Yes, we all want to escape the matrix, and we can. And many of us have done it. So let's keep on doing that. First of all, a couple of things here. I did not get a timeline for this. There was a mention of Jupiter perp fees falling from 0.01% to 0.008% per hour for assets like SOL, ETH, and Bitcoin. Interesting. By the way, shout out to High Stakes who asked me this question a while ago. I lost it in Discord. I couldn't find it again because it moves at such a frenetic pace. But I was thinking about you. I did read it, and then I couldn't get back to it because there's so much other stuff happening. But the question was, High Stakes asked, what is the APY on 0.01% per hour per year, you thought it was 40%. My calculations tell me it's 101.53%. Remember compounding. Okay? So you don't just multiply that by 365. It grows. Okay? So if, again, this kind of goes back to the leverage ETF question. Leverage is expensive. It will eat you alive in fees, okay? If you're getting into a perp and you're spending 101% on interest, you make nothing. So short-term trade only. Remember that. And I did not catch anything again at breakpoint regarding the actual timeline. So there we are. But I do know that the more Jupiter has adoption, the more DEX volume increases, the more money they make, the more they can slash fees and give back as well. So thank you for that great question. And keep on escaping the matrix. Let's get into the final best part of the week. Thank you, everybody, for all you do. This week, we donated to Blue Rider Stables to help support the care, food, and shelter, and medical for the following animals. Rico, who is a warm-blooded horse. He's big and goofy, makes friends with everybody, but because of his large size and some dental issues, Rico requires extra food year-round to keep him strong and healthy, and lots of toothpaste or whatever they do. So thank you all. And then DCA tomorrow morning. We have something historic happening tomorrow. We have Marty is going to moderate for the first time. So everybody, we are 4 very different individuals, and we all bring something unique to the table. So tomorrow morning, you'll see this. And of course, don't hit the like and subscribe. Let's get into some questions. Thank you as well to the mods in the chat. That show is called The Fastest Horse. And all the 10Xs that will occur over the next few years. But you've got to be in the right assets. All right. Thank you, Rico, and T&D Tesla and everybody for being here. I'm going to go look for the questions. All right. We have Team Canada. Happy feet up there. Would you buy up some Sol Strategy stock? Would this stock do anything similar to what MicroStrategy did? Not financial advice. So, yeah, this is kind of a weird one. 2 weeks ago, exactly to the day, somebody asked me a question regarding Sol Strategies, and I'm so busy, and I'll always be directly, true and honest. I basically said the amount of crypto they have is equating to their market cap, which means this is drastically overvalued. There was no premium on buying this stock to get access to the crypto bags, which is Bitcoin and Solana. Since then, they had a windfall of about 5,000 Solana from FTX being paid out, and they just bought another nearly 5,000 Solana on Friday. I did get in. I had allocated a certain amount to spend on this thing. I probably got a fill on 16% of what I wanted to buy at 16 cents because everybody else front-run me, and I wasn't prepared to pay 20 cents, so I didn't. I do have a position, but it's very small compared to my other positions. In fact, it's a crumb. It's a piece of dust. Now, I shared on Patreon, which you probably saw, Happy Feet, the model. You can get the ARB model. You can calculate for yourself when it is there. Right now, it's at, I think, 101% premium, 101.34% premium, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of the market cap over the crypto. And that all happened in 2 weeks. So if you look at the chart, it just goes straight up. And I am responsible for that. So, but I'll always do everything fair and transparently and not front run my audience. So that's a perfect case in point of why that is. Anywho, thank you. I could have been selfish and waited till Monday, bought a big bag, and then answered that question a week later. But no, that's not how I work. I don't need to anyway. So for me, this is all just fun and sport and helping others. Peter Lazo, what are your thoughts on ASI crypto? I haven't seen you cover it. Has the ability to perform well like Solana or underperform. ASI crypto, I never heard of it, but I'm going to go to my golden source, which is the Crypto Compendium. And I got to be careful too. Sometimes people throw in a question, so I mention a name so I can pump their bags. But, let me see. Let me see what this thing is all about. ASI crypto. If I've never heard of it, it means it's probably very small. And oh my God, it's an ETH contract. Ew. I don't touch ETH contract. Tokenomics sucks. Yeah. If it's ASI, yeah, nope. Garbage. Again, somebody wants me to pump their bags. I won't. It's no good. Thank you, Peter, for the question. Yeah. All right. Remember, everybody, be in the top 1% of assets. And when it comes to crypto, that means in the top half of 1% of assets. Remember, 99.5% is now complete trash. Trash. Remember that. Oishi, if you were to speculate, why doesn't the All-In Pod ever discuss Bitcoin or what Saylor is doing with MicroStrategy and outperforming everybody? So the All-In Pod guys do discuss Bitcoin. They do discuss crypto. 2 of the 4 guys actually have big bags of Solana that they never sold. They still hold. And Shamath is an early investor in Bitcoin. He was one of the biggest bag holders in the early days. He did sell too early. It's funny because David Sachs always says, let your winners ride. And that means some Shamath didn't let his winner ride. If Shamath had held his Bitcoin bags, he'd be one of the richest people on the planet right now. He didn't. This is the key. Okay. When you have a very unique piece of disruption in your hands, do not let it go, everybody. So, and people don't discuss MicroStrategy because it's hard to wrap your head around the infinite money glitch. But I have noticed a huge uptick in all other YouTube channels, all talking about MicroStrategy right now. And as Marty says, what is it? Price makes narrative because the price is to the moon. The narrative is all everybody's talking about MicroStrategy. When I am the first person to talk about it, and I am the first person to talk about Solana and CleanSpark and all those things. So again, I spend all my time looking for opportunities, looking for that tiny snowball at the top of the hill that's going to grow and grow and grow. But they are very hard to find, everybody. Very hard. CYFRF, which is HODL Solana strategies, that was one of those. But again, they're few and far between. So yeah, people don't talk about stuff they don't understand. And that's probably the reason. But the All-In Pod guys are great. Absolutely fantastic. And it's one of the few things I actually watch on YouTube. Actually, I listen to it when I'm in the car. And I listened to it in the Cybertruck yesterday. And the good thing about the Cybertruck is it drives itself, so you can actually watch too. Anyhow, by the way, on that note, I've driven 1,800 miles out of 2,000 miles, all on FSD, not driving, which is absolutely stunning for what it is. And it's so safe. And I wouldn't feel comfortable being in a car without it, truth be told. Justice for All, Team Metallica. It's amazing how much people continue to fade Elon Musk. Yes! I tweeted today, don't fade Elon. When I saw that rocket being caught in chopsticks, I was like, ugh, brought a tear to my eye. Anyway, I guess haters gonna hate while creators gonna create, and Elon just keeps creating. I know how much you've gone over before, but how much of Tesla value is directly tied to Elon? So he has a couple of really amazing skills that I see. That's very unique. First of all, he can see 8 years into the future. And that's one of the things that I try and do. I'm more like hopefully 5 years into the future. But he can see 8 years into the future, and he can anticipate S-curves, and he can identify which ones will collide. And he can position himself 8 years, maybe 10 years in advance. Okay? So think of the cars. He had cameras and sensors on these cars, and he's been gathering data for 8 years to fuel the FSD machines so cars could drive themselves. Nobody, even to this day, has had that vision. 7 million cars collecting data all around the world. Absolute insurmountable need. Energy storage, same thing. AI, same thing. Reusable rockets, same thing. All of the ideas are his. Okay? And when they come up with a problem, he has the vision to solve those problems. He slept on a factory floor for 3 years to make the Model 3 scale. Now they have built the machine that builds the machine, which is called the Gigafactory. Nobody else has that. Nobody. And that's why I've got such extreme confidence. So, and humans are designed to... Change is scary. And I always say embrace or die if you've watched this channel, because I always want to be on the forefront of change. If you are not evolving, if you're not developing, you're dead. I see myself as a shark in the water. If I stop swimming, I die. And that's why I say ABL, always be learning, always be swimming, or else you will die. So it's a bit of a dark video today, but I'm speaking with a lot of conviction and giving you a little bit of a glimpse inside my dark mind. I was called dark something the other day because I think I was wearing a black baseball cap or something. Oh, it was a black Tesla hat. So I was called a dark something, which I will not mention. But anyway, I don't care what other people think about me. I just care about the Patreon community and you guys out here today. Thank you all. And thank you for your super sticker. Andy, Nick M, Beatcorn Bull. I love Beatcorn. April Fool's Day last year, I think we did Beatcorn. The Beatcorn Show. Linda Hun, thank you for coming. Bon Bon, Doc Intern, Signal 103, Dog One, Moto 89, A Bottle of Red, Swiper No Swiping, Polly the Tree, and the newly minted MicroStrategy Millionaire. Thank you all for coming. Have a great Sunday. Spend time with the family and nature and eating healthy and getting your 10,000 steps a day and all that good stuff. Thank you all. See you tomorrow morning. DCA.